No problem, Madam Chairman.
Can I get a roll call, please?
Do you want that
Mrs.
now or
Shue?
later?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Mrs. Denali?
Yes.
Mrs. Jenkins?
Yes.
Mr. Augustine?
Here.
Mr. Fodor?
Present.
Mr. Hack?
Yes, I'd like to open up the meeting with Andy Unite, our finance director, and our city manager, Monica Ireland.
We'll try to make this as quick as possible. I'm already getting bullied back there, so we'll try to
You
make
are.
it
You
quick.
got arrows shooting towards the back of your head?
You were till 7.
Absolutely.
I think we have a little conviction here, though, you know?
We're a captive audience.
So, same procedure as last time. If you guys have any questions, hop right in. Okay? First we'll go over the total revenues. Total budget revenues is going to be about $73.8 million. This is down $3.5 million from last year. Our taxes will be going up. Total taxes will be $14.6 million. This is an increase of $1.4 million. Our property taxes went up. Thankfully, the police levy passed, so that's an extra $600,000. And our TIF revenue, tax money has been going up as well. The intergovernmental revenues, you're going to see a big decrease there. For 2020, we're going to get about $4.8 million. This is down $7.4 million from last year. The reason for this is the water intake. The water intake, we got $5 million more in 2019, but the water intake is almost done, so we don't need to get as much money. So that's the main reason why the intergovernmental revenues are down. The user fees, those are the utility revenues. We expect those to be up about $2.4 million. We expect water, sewer, and electric revenues to all be up in 2020. This is just the last 5 years, the revenue trends. Utility user fees, you can see they've been steadily going up, and we expect those to go up as well in 2020. The property taxes went up a decent amount, and the main reason the property taxes are going up is the police levy has bringing in an additional $600,000. The income taxes, they're not doing as well as we used to be. We've been budgeting around $8.2 million the last couple of years. We're going to budget 8.2 in 2020 as well. But unfortunately, we've only been coming in right around 8.3 million. We used to be coming in around 8.8 or 8.9 million dollars. So the income taxes, they've dropped down almost $500,000 there. That's, we'd like to get those back up. Local government revenues, we expect to get about $730,000. They're staying pretty consistent. This shows where the revenues come from. The city's largest source of revenues are user fees, which is the utility revenues. The second largest is the taxes, and then the third largest is the intergovernmental revenues, and then it shows the breakout for all the other revenues we receive. These are the total expenses by cost center for 2020. We expect the 2020 budget to be just under $80 million. The 2019 budget was $84 million. The personnel services, this is all the salaries, wages, benefits, they're going to go up slightly, $331,000. Nothing big there. Materials and supplies, you see, those are going to be $600,000 less than they were in 2019. The main reason in 2019, the fire department received a grant. And with the grant money, they bought $600 worth of equipment for numerous departments. But we don't have that grant, so that's the main reason that line item was down. We expect the utilities line item to go up $1.6 million. The reason for that, the purchase power in 2019 was $17 million. That's for electric. It's going to be $18.6 million for purchase power. That's what buy electricity off the grid, so it's going up $1.6 million. Our capital outlay, we expect it to be right around $13.6 million. This is a $6 million decrease from 2019. Again, the main reason for this is the water intake, where you're budgeting $5 million less for the water intake in 2020 compared to 2019. Some quick budget points here. The general fund will have a budget deficit, but council has agreed to work with the administration on this to reduce this deficit in 2020. All the main funds except the sewer fund will need to use carryover monies to balance the budget. The new police levy is going to bring in over $600,000 a year. Most of our expenses are for salaries, and we are proposing $13.6 million in capital projects in 2020. This is a breakout of the expenses by funds. The largest expenses are spent in the utility funds. The next largest expenses go towards the general fund, and then lastly, or the third largest group of expenses come from the special revenue funds. This chart shows what all the money is being spent on. And like I said before, the city's largest expense is for salaries and benefits. The next one is for utilities, and this is where the purchase power comes from. And the third largest expense is for capital outlay, and that's going to be $13.6 million. At the general fund revenues for 2020 are going to be $12.8 million. This is a slight increase from 2019, so that's a good thing. Expenses are going to be $13.2 million, and those are only going up about 1%, so that's not too bad. General fund will have a budget deficit of slightly over $300,000, but again, council has agreed to work with the administration to reduce those deficits. This shows where all the general fund revenues come from. The largest source of revenue in the general fund is the taxes. The second largest source of revenues in the general fund is the fines and forfeitures. That's court money, and that's usually just right over $1 million. And then miscellaneous revenues are the third largest source, and that's where we bring our transfer in from the electric kilowatt tax, our interest, and various rentals that we charge. This is a breakdown of the general fund revenues and expenses going back to 2016. 2016 through 18, those are actual numbers. 2019 and 20 are budget numbers. The red is the revenue and the yellow is the expense. You can see in 2017, 19, and 20 were projected at budget deficits for those years. This shows what the money is spent on in the general fund. The largest expense in the general fund is the salaries and benefits. That's just about $10.6 million. The other contractual, that's where we pay RETA, and then insurance is our second largest expense. And then our charter services, that's where we pay for the dispatch, the health district, and the senior citizens and DPO. This is a summary of the personnel by department. I want to point out the community development department. You'll see they've lost one employee in 2020. We're eliminating the building department, and that caused us to get rid of one employee. And then in electric, they're going down by one. Somebody through attrition at the electric plant is not going to get replaced. But outside of that, we're going to have the same number of employees. Yeah.
Employee that left from community development, he left on his own accord. We didn't get rid of him.
He did leave on his own. Yes, he ended up leaving on his own accord. This is a breakout of general fund expenses by department. The police department is the largest general fund expense at $4.5 million. The second largest is a non-departmental. That's about $2.6 million. That's where we pay for the transfers out, the hospitalization for the employees, which is going to be $1.7 million, and the workers' comp. Fire is the third largest expense at $2.5 million, and court is the fourth largest expense at $1.1 million. All right, now, and this is, we're doing it a little bit different this year. We're showing the budgets at 100%. This is all funds in there, so maybe this will take away some confusion. In 2020, the engineering's budget's going to be $414,000. This is a slight increase from 2019. And chart shows again most of their expenses on personnel services. And Leanne is here to discuss the capital.
So for the capital, we'll be paving various roads in the city. We've got some sewer improvements that we need to make around the city. We've got the Button Avenue sewer repair that needs to be done. We do have the sidewalk program again. The State Route 44 interchange is moving along. And we need to purchase one computer, and then we need to perform the traffic signal study in order to do our upgrades in 2020.
And
Oh, sorry. And then the roads, so we're gonna do a Skinner and Button or OPWC projects. Casement, we're gonna go with the county, they're paving their portion, so we'll pave ours. And then Watson Street with the water line improvement, we will do our paving program, and then the sidewalks. Questions?
I did have a question. It was, can you go back to the last slide? So on the traffic signal study, is that like something we do routinely every so many years? Is that something we need based on?
So we received a grant to do a traffic signal upgrade for the corridors of Richmond and Manor Avenue and Erie. So we are focusing that traffic study on those signals so that when we are ready to implement our new signals, we'll know what the timing should be and all that. So
When will the new signals be put in, you know?
2023 is when we receive our grant for construction.
When were they bought? In the 80s?
The ones that we currently have are from 2002, I believe.
How much is the grant for? You know?
I think it's for, I'm not sure. I'll look it up. I'll let you know. I think it's only for like 450,000. We got 50%, and the total project, I believe, is 810,000. So, yeah. Questions?
Thank you.
I'll give you the exact number though.
all right, this is council's budget. Again, this is at 100%. For 2020, your budget's going to be $137,000. It is slightly down from last year. You guys reduce your training and other contractual just a little bit. You're going to have, for education and training, you're going to have 20,000, and then for other contractual, you're going to have 10,000. So, still a good amount of money, you guys. This is the city manager's office. Her budget for 2020, total budget is going to be just over $330,000. Again, most of her department's expenses are for salaries. And then they're requesting one computer. This is actually for Kathleen, for communications. Next is communications. This is the department of one. Their total budget is just under $152,000. She is requesting one laptop, and Kathleen's here to answer any questions you guys might have on her budget. Next are the courts. Or yes.
Why do you want a laptop?
So it's actually a tablet, it's for power outages at home, so right now I use my personal cell phone and data. So I'd like something for when I'm on weekends and nights.
And a tablet is more ideal than a stipend for your cell phone?
We didn't really get into the cell phone because I don't have a cell phone.
Just an alternative. Because we're gonna have to pay for data for the tablet.
Because we're one.
We have to pay for data from the tablet, correct?
I would assume so, yeah.
Okay, so I'm just thinking in terms of an alternative idea, instead of paying for a tablet and then paying for monthly data, maybe a cell phone stipend would be sufficient.
I'm actually not sure I have the ability to offer that within our employee policy manual. We have to make a policy change for me as well or something like that. The other piece of that is, she is constantly on call nights and weekends, so we were trying to find a way to help her with that since, she is on call.
It's easier to use a tablet too. It's a cell phone.
Well, that's the other piece is doing communications on cell phone is a little bit difficult. When you tablet, it's easier to do all those on Facebook and things like that.
Next is the courts. Their total budget for 2020 will be $1.5 million. Again, most of their expenses are for personnel, and Nick is here to discuss his capital or any other questions you might have.
Questions?
Well, nobody wants to hear from Nick. Take a
You want to
shot
talk
there.
about your capital, you can.
There's not much to say. That's all court funding money, but it all comes from our use of money at the court. Nothing comes from general fund.
Yeah, thanks for pointing it out. That is a very good point. It's not general fund money.
So you're not expecting any demands from your new judge?
No, we're working on the transition with Judge Melchesky. We're hoping that he's going to take office by December 2nd. It's been a great transition between the two, and we're going to work within the budget that we have for 2020. And I'm working already on some ideas that Judge Melchesky has, but it's not going to be any drastic change. So it's going to be nice transition. And I want to thank all of you. This will this will be my last work session, because I will be stepping down. Thank you, Mr. Flansburgh.
That's that, will you?
No. That's the end of the pain in the butt at times, but
Quite a bit at times.
I have one question. In the goals and objectives, the new X-ray machine for the court entrance is on here, but I don't see it in the capital, and I would assume it's an expensive piece of equipment.
I've actually applied for a grant on that, and I'm expecting to hear by December. A little lucky, we won't have to worry about that. But if not, we could use either our special project money, we have some extra money for that particular expense. So, but again, thank you all. It's been a great ride. And my goal is to help transition Judge Melchesky and work on our succession plan and put everything in place. And my goal is to be out by 2nd of March.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we come to one more council meeting before that happens? Just one more.
He works for the judge, it doesn't work for me, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Thank you, City Manager.
You're welcome.
Next is economic development. Unfortunately, Kathy had a family emergency, so she couldn't join us tonight. Her budget for 2020 will be $210,000. Again, most of her expenses are spent on salaries. She's requesting some new computers and monitors. I believe Monica has her stuff, if you guys have any
Yeah, I have her
questions.
notes if you guys have any questions.
Any questions out there?
Next, Human Resources Office, that was one of my departments. We're projecting, no, upset, we expect a budget of $324,000. You'll see in 2018, there was an increase to the human resources. That's because we added one new employee in 2018. There you are, not requesting any capital. Then finance and finance department, I have 7 employees. My budget for 2020 will be just over $900,000. The reason it went up, we have to pay for 2 softwares, the old accounting software and the new accounting software. And this is going to go on like this for probably 2 or 3 years because we have to maintain the old software before the new software is up and running. For the utilities, we project a budget of $873,000. This budget went down because we had one employee that was split out over water, sewer, and electric, and that one employee now is strictly water's employee, 100%. Finance department is one of the few departments where personnel is not our largest expense. The service and charges, we pay for the RITA expenses, and that's roughly $260,000 each year. That's what we pay RITA to collect the income taxes for us. We're asking for a new computer in finance and in utilities, a new truck for about $30,000, and then the other half of the new finance, utilities, and HR software, and that's going to be $500,000. You guys already approved $500,000 in the 2019 budget for the software.
I have a question. When we switch to the AMI program, do we think that there will be a decrease in delinquency for utility and billing? When people have more control over their usage and whatnot, maybe?
I would say you definitely get a better grasp on your revenues. You will see an increase on our capture revenues. I don't know if it'll keep people from being delinquent as much, but we will be able to get a more realistic capture on usage.
Okay.
Next is police. Police is the largest general fund expense. Their total budget for 2020, excluding capital, will be $5 million. Their budget went up because the levy went up, additional training, additional fuel expenses. Again, most of their expenses go towards personnel. And the chief is here to go over this capital, and I'll go over this slide. The new levy, we want to thank our residents for that. It's going to bring in over $600,000 annually. We're going to be spending the money on capital, additional police officers. Those aren't coming on until 2021. Additional training and raises for the police officers. In 2020, the city will be using $465,000 from the levy on the new camera system. And the chief is here to discuss the 2020 police capital.
Thanks for sharing.
I know originally, when we went over this in finance committee, it was the top half, correct? The 2
Right.
vehicles?
Yes.
Okay,
It was, yes.
so walk me through the bottom half.
Sure. Yeah, as Andy said, the intersection LPR cameras are going to be the biggest chunk. They're looking at the 465 there. One new detective car. The detective fleet is between 7 and 10 years old. One of them is having parked. The bottom is rotting out of it, so we're not able to actually run that. And so they're sharing cars, where they're having to take other cars, and that's a problem that we had to address. The other one is the female locker room upgrade. In able to attract female candidates, we really wanted to do that. I just felt like their facilities had been neglected for far too long, so that $8,000 should be well spent getting their facilities up to par. There's some leakage issues and some other issues that are certainly long overdue. I don't think there's been an upgrade in there for maybe 25 years. And then the command center, that is actually the room, the training room, when you come into that upstairs area where the cubicles are. And that functions as the emergency operations center of the city in a major emergency, bring the flood, the train derailment, all those things. The department has to gather in there, city manager would gather in there, and that's where we would operate from. So it needs to have certain, backup, like power backup, certain things like that. Some computers, the monitor that was in there that we used to, type up all the incidents as they come in. Central dispatch several times has had to, in those situations, dump all the calls into the city, so that we're now maintaining calls, and it creates a problem for us logistically when that isn't upgraded and doesn't have the proper equipment in there. So we're going to try to get that to a respectable emergency center, because unfortunately over the years we've had a couple big ones, like the train derail and things like that, the windstorms, and I think we'll be able to do that with that money.
So then when I look at number 698, 936, 98, 936 is coming out of general fund, the rest is for the police levy?
No.
No.
So the general fund is 184, the general fund's the top of it.
Okay,
And then 515,000 is coming from the police levy.
so where's the other 85 that going into that police levy? Is it 600,000?
So we're on for the police levy, so 66,000 is going to go towards a raise to the police officers. 17,000 is going to go towards training. 515,000 is going to go to capital, and then we have money in there for SRO increase in wages at 10,750.
So that's more than 85.
That comes to 608,820, which is the exact amount of money that the levy's bringing in.
Where's the penny?
That's it then.
The one thing I want to mention about the 183,000 also, that OBI vehicle, that's an offset. That fund can only be used for certain things. So if we were able to work that into the capital, and that technically can only be used for that purpose.
And that is not general fund money. That's 67,980 is not general fund money.
Thank you.
Could you spend 2 minutes and just give us the highlights of the camera system?
Sure. Yeah, I could do
Just
it.
a Joe Friday, just the facts.
Right now, we have Lieutenant Brigade has been out working on the RFP and talking to different vendors. We're looking at the quantity of how many can we get, what's the installation going to be, what kind of software we're going to get, and exactly, and then we get down to the nuts and bolts of where exactly do we locate these strategically to get the biggest bang for our buck, and to be able to protect the community best against the types of things that we talked about.
And I guess what I'm getting at here is just that the main purpose of these cameras is to
Protect the residents.
not speeding tickets,
Yeah, not at all.
not catching people going through the red
Yeah, none of
lights.
that, no. The red light companies, we're not looking at those guys at all. Those are, we've asked them to move on. Yeah, everything we're doing is based on how can we make it safer, how can we position these that we might be able to have a preventative aspect to them, and also an aspect that we're pretty certain that we'll be able to see who's doing what if something does happen, in the event something does happen.
So from our pre-election meeting that we had over at Morse Avenue, we talked about being more open and having more meetings and with
Yes.
with- So when would you like to see the meeting with the public? And the reason I'm asking that is my take was we'd probably rather do it after we've got the decisions made and bring it out that way, rather than open it up for, I don't want one in my neighborhood and so on and so forth. So is that something that's on our horizon?
It could be. We actually have a meeting this coming Saturday, because we said that we would do meetings throughout. And while we might not be able to articulate those details because we don't have them yet, we plan on continuing to have meetings that, probably at least quarterly would be a good idea. And that way, there won't be a situation where we won't have a meeting shortly after whenever those decisions are made. So
So where are we meeting Saturday?
this is going to be here in, right here.
For the rest of the day?
It's on the Painesville Police Fire and her Facebook page.
11 is it 11? 11 a.m.
On the Painesville Police website right there?
Okay.
Facebook?
Yes. Yeah, that was just.
Would have been a good communication for all of us, rather than just have us have to look at. I would have loved an email, maybe from communications or something. I don't have time to look at all of them, and I'm kind of surprised. So I don't know, heads up maybe.
Yeah, that was just finalized this afternoon, so that was honest, that we didn't get a chance to get that done just yet.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Ready? Thank you. Good.
Thank you.
Careful.
Next is the fire. The fire budget for 2020, total operating budget will be $3.4 million. This is a slight decrease from 2019, and again, the reason for the decrease, we received a grant for over $600,000, so we're not getting those monies, but we don't have those expenses going out, so that's why it went down. Their largest expense is for salaries, and the chief is here to go over his capital.
So I have a question, and it's not directly capital related, it's related to your goals and objectives. I noticed you identified that they need training for personnel to identify the signs and symptoms of PTSD. Do we have a plan, or is it in the future to have a plan that when those signs and symptoms are identified, what next? Or is that part of the process?
Would be part of the process that we're planning going forward.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
This is Public Works. Their budget for 2020 is going to be $1.7 million. This is a slight increase from 2019. The main reason for the increase, the cost of salt is going from $44 to $63. The price is going up 42% a ton. And Brian is here to discuss his capital, or any questions you might have.
The sewer camera truck,
Correct.
what does that actually, I've never seen it in operation. How does that actually work? I'm just curious.
It's a mainline sewer camera. We televise all our mainline sewers.
I mean, you put a little car down there with remote control, with a camera, and away you go.
And it's cabled all the way. There's like a 1,000-foot reel in it. There's an operator and the code. The pipe as it runs down the line. If the operator, if there's any fractures, punctures, infiltrations, separated joints, it's all documented. And Leanne's able to go through it prior to road resurfacing and make decisions collectively on how we're going to tackle it.
Will the new camera be in color?
It's all one color once it gets in there.
It's one color. I don't know why I feel like when we pave a road, we have some kind of issue with the infrastructure underneath it, despite the fact that we do the cameras. Am I mistaken about that? Am I misunderstanding?
We've been pretty proactive, I think, as a group, especially with, at least in the storms and sanitaries that attack these problems. Before we put the right course on it, that we won't have these issues with our storms and sanitaries before we pave. And I think we've done that with all utilities, water included, so that when the road's done, it's done complete.
So you think we can avoid a lot of
I think we've avoided
issues?
quite a bit. I think we've caught quite a bit. I think we've seen problem areas and why they've been problem areas for so long, and we were able to correct issues that we've had, whether it's slow flow or whatever it may be, or why a certain street holds water longer than others, and correct some of these problems that have been, at least have been on my department's routine maintenance that we've kind of eliminated for ourselves.
And so I'm mistaken in believing or thinking that things have come up? Or have they come up? Like
After the fact, I think,
I would say we're much more proactive in the last 3 to 5 years than we have been before. And that most of those issues that pop up were done prior to the actual road plan. where we did televise the year prior to road projects and made sure that sewer money was set aside to fix those issues for storm or water. This is a newer thing for Painesville that hasn't been done in the past. So most projects that were done prior to 3 years ago, we do still see issues popping up just because we weren't as proactive then as we are today.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I can do anything about the manholes on Route 20.
Around 20. Those lids are all worn. You know, I mean, I'm sure you've seen it. The lid and the ring are worn. Those would have to be cut out and replaced.
Oh, this is the second time I've said that.
Say they can or can't.
And you don't want to put riser rings on something like such a high traffic area.
Snow and asphalt.
Fill them with that.
No, you can't fill them in asphalt.
So, I've seen snow trucks out. Are we all up and running and good to go?
We're up and running. In fact, this past Monday, we went, the snow came, we went right into shift work that Monday evening. And we kept rolling till we got out of the storm. Technically, we're not gonna go full shift work until mid-December, but as these storms roll in, the guys are well aware that if something comes through, we're gonna split up so that we can have this 24/7 coverage and just roll right from one shift to the next, uninterrupted. So, we went into the shift work, last week. We got out of the shift work Wednesday. I think we were all in the clear, and the guys are back on days for now. But come mid-December, December 9th, I think is our tentative starting date, we're gonna go right to, we'll be on 2 shifts, 8-hour shifts when there's no inclement weather, 12-hour shifts when it's snowing and the roads need treatment. Excuse me, and that'll carry on until mid-March unless it keeps snowing. And if it stops snowing and it snows in April, we'll flop back to shift work. It's just, the guys are well aware and they're comfortable with it. And I think as a collectively, as a group, we're well prepared.
And Brian, I know that, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I know that road salt prices went up.
Correct.
But I also know that you've done some things with your department to be more conservative with the salt and how you're spreading it.
Correct.
So, did you want to talk about that?
We did, I talked a little bit in my presentation just on how we're treating. We do a lot of pre-treating. You see our truck, we increase the capacity of our truck. We get, ODOT's generous enough to give us the brine, to give all the Lake County communities brine. If we know that a storm's gonna hit us in advance, it's not gonna rain and wash it off the road, we'll pre-treat the roads with brine, liquid 23% salt solution. And just as far as how we've been tracking over the past years, the trucks and how much salt they're spreading tons per lane mile. We want to hit a certain sweet spot of between 200 and 400 pounds per lane mile. I mean, this past event we had some freezing rain in between, and we'll see a spike. But it keeps the staff in check is to see where guys kind of not a competition, but that they could do just as good, you know, with their roads as the next. You know, we want to be in that sweet spot. We don't want to excessively treating the roads where it's washing off and going up onto the tree lawns and stuff, and it serves no purpose.
Are we, and this is probably for Andy, are we pretty good in terms of wages going into the end of 2019 here?
What do you mean?
Not looking at overtime, we have monies in the,
Yeah, we'll be okay for 2019.
is the hot patch done for the year?
We got hot patch today. It's kind of hit or miss. We call every day to see if they're open, because we want to use that as much as possible. There's going to come a point within the next couple of weeks, or a week or so, depending on, a lot of it I think is driven by contractors, what their demand is. You know, they want to stay open to supply contractors, but if they're open, we're buying the material, we're using that instead of hot patch.
Does, for the 2020 budget, in terms of preventive maintenance for roads, are we looking at filling cracks?
We still do crack sealing. I mean, we've done, this year we were up on Richmond, crack sealing Richmond Street, East Prospect, just to stay on top of the preventative maintenance to keep these roads lasting. So that's always part of our tool in our tool belt that we're using to stay on top of these roads, in addition to fixing the road when it has failed.
program that's going to go on? How's that working? Have we had conversations with businesses as to what we're gonna be plowing and where the snow's gonna go?
The sidewalk plow or the road plow?
The road plow.
The road plow, in my experience, I haven't had much to do, or haven't had much problem with placing, where we place the snow. We're always going back, Michelle's staff, excellent, they come and they'll clean around meters, take care of the downtown area, and then my night shift, when they're not working roads, they're out, we're hauling snow away, getting, so that the business owners and the general public can maneuver through these areas. If it's in an area where we know that it's gonna pose a problem, we'll remove it. State Street, it gets piled there by the courthouse, and we remove that off the roadway.
Any questions? Thank you.
All right, next is Parks and Recreation. For 2020, their budget will be $1.2 million. You see this is a slight increase from 2019. The reason they're going to have to pay contractors more to cut the grass to be in compliance with the city's code. They're cutting the city's property, but we have to cut it more often. I think we're cutting it every 2 weeks, and now it's got to go every 7 days or 10 days or something. And then Michelle's here to talk about her capital.
Nope, I guess we're good.
Next is community development. This is community development code enforcement. You'll see there's a big decrease in the 2020 budget. It's going to be $274,000. This is, we eliminated one employee, so that'll go down. But you have to remember, there's going to be probably $40,000 less in revenues coming into the general fund because the building department was eliminated. But this is definitely going to save the city money. And Doug is here to discuss his capital if you guys have any questions.
Thank you.
Next is planning and development, Lynn's department. Her budget's going to be $358,000. The reason for the increase, we are doing the comprehensive plan, which is going to cost $75,000. I believe we haven't had one done in 10 years or something, so longer than that.
06.
Oh, all right, so a little longer, so. And Lynn is requesting no capital, but she is here to discuss her budget, if you guys have any questions. All right. Utility funds, water and electric will have a budget deficit in 2020. We do expect all of the revenues to be increased in 2020. We have several large capital projects being proposed, completion of the water intake, and electric capital is requesting $4.5 million, with $3 million of that going towards burying electric cable to develop property in the city. This quick overview of the electric fund. In 2020, our revenues is going to be just under $30 million, and this is a 7% increase from 2019. And the expenses will also just be under $30 million. This is a 5% increase. They'll have a budget deficit of just under $180,000 in 2020. This is just the electric fund's operating expenses. You'll see the 2020 budget, there's a big increase. The reason for the increase is the additional $1.6 million of purchase power expenses. And the capital budget is going to be $4.5 million in 2020. Jeff is here to discuss his capital. You see it shows $1 million. Doug's had $3 million on his for the burying of the electric, but that's still from the same electric department.
I have questions. So, when do we anticipate the expenditures for the AMI program?
So we have, that money's already encumbered and set aside.
Okay,
But I have to get my computer system up and running before we get to any of mine.
okay.
So we're probably a good year and a half out before we start, to 2 years maybe.
Yeah, we're still going to, we have already ordered meters, they're on their way. We are starting the AMI program, the new meters will be put in place. We just won't do a full integration with the system until this system's up and running. But we will still see some positive side effects, even with changing the meters out, even without full integration.
And then with the Efficiency Smart program, when will that be rolled out to residential?
They're working on a rollout right now, and what was the last piece of communications that went out on that?
We just put some information on the utility bills
Yeah.
about it. So it is up and running.
It's not
We need it.
more.
Yeah.
It's also on the website.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Jim?
The battery building.
A small garage for the forklift/plow.
Could you just give us a quick update on what upgrades are gonna be made to the battery building so it can be used?
They're gonna make it a swimming pool.
Stop it.
Community center.
There we go.
No, actually, we're gonna put sand in beach volleyball.
That'll work too.
From ground level, they're, because of the tank that was supposed to hold the vanadium and the electrolyte, there had to be spill containment. So we've been talking about, the upgrade is to try and get it so that you can go right in from the parking lot into the building. Because right now it's about,
It's a 4-foot drop.
4 foot.
So you could get in now, but you couldn't get out.
Yeah, once you're in, you're not getting back out.
So you're gonna fill it up with all that fly ash?
They're gonna-
We're gonna stone it so that people can drive in and drive back out.
And just the pole audit mapping, I'm just kind of curious what exactly is that?
It's a company, they go around and they take a look at all our poles. They're going to stop at each one. They're going to GIS map it so that we'll know, we'll have like the GIS point so we can map our whole system and have exact points where they're supposed to be, what they're, where they are. And then they're going to have an audit. They're going to be able to tell us what's on it. If it's cable, phone, fiber, is it secondary, is it primary, what's the voltage? Everything that we've always wanted to know about our circuits we'll have in after this study is done. And then they're also going to do a visual where some of the, you can tell where some of the poles might have some shell rocks, or if they're good looking poles, or if they've had creatures living in them, and then we'll have, then we can develop a plan then to start a pole replacement program. Rather, we can go out and get to the pole before the pole just announces that it's bad by fall.
Okay. So that will also give you the life history of like a transformer sitting on a pole?
Yeah, well, we have the, it'll tell us the size, number of customers, and that kind of stuff also.
Okay.
So, but we also have a database that tells us, if you give us the serial number, we can look up that transformer and know when we first bought it. We got the history, a couple of different things going on, and we're gonna try and merge those also.
And then the step after that would be the GIS mapping, so then it's plugged in the GIS system, and then all of the guys will have access to an automated map. So when anything changes, all their maps change at the same exact time, everyone has the same information. It's a safety feature, because right now our guys are working on paper circuit maps. So if something changes in the field, they all have to sit down and communicate with each other to make sure everyone has the same information on their maps, which is a little antiquated and unsafe in my opinion. So the step after that is to GIS it so that it's completely automated.
And the next step will be, then the trucks will have laptops in them that have the maps and everything, so when the guy goes out, he'll be able to know right where he's going, and he'll be able to communicate where he's, any changes that he's done too.
Any other questions for Jeff? Thank you.
Next is water. The proposed water revenue is going to be just under $5 million. This is up 4%. The reason for the increase is the new water rate increase the council approved. Expenses are just going to be under $4.9 million, and this is an increase of 4%. The reason for the increase, we have to pay for possible consultants up to $186,000 to be in compliance with EPA. It is possible we might not need this, hopefully we don't, right, Denise? Things are looking good that we won't need it, but we put it in there just to be safe. Water will have a budget deficit of only $16,000. The water fund is starting to go in the right direction, thanks to council's approval of the new water rates.
So if we don't need a consultant, she'll be at the block, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
This is the water plant and distribution operating budget for 2020. We expect it's going to be $2.6 million, but of this $2.6 million is $186,000 in there for the consultant that hopefully we're not going to need. You'll see a big decrease in the water capital. The reason is we're spending $5 million less on the water intake. The water intake will be done in 2020, correct?
Yes, sir.
And Denise is here to discuss her water capital of just under $5 million.
Well, you don't have to ask me questions. You don't want.
Did they get their boiler machine out yet? Have they raised it any?
6 inches.
Really? Well, I guess they're making progress.
It's not stuck on the bottom.
5 inches a week. I go down there almost every day and look at the lake and I don't see stuff.
6 inches. Yesterday.
The one question I do have is the cement blocks that you put up blocking people from going around the back, is that for this 36-inch intake or what's that for?
That's because they're where they put the original hole to tunnel out to the lake.
Uh-huh.
They're gonna cut across and tie into the raw building.
Oh, okay.
So what if they can't get that thing out of there? I mean, it's gotta come out, right?
It's gotta come out.
Well, that's not on us though, that's on them.
That is
That's on them.
They already
$100.
moved
not
on the
on me.
ball.
Yeah.
But it's still on us in a sense of, you still have to worry about freezing and everything else with the other intake, correct?
We got this. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
We got this. I got this down.
I'm gonna call them, I'll watch it.
What, you want the call in the middle of the night?
Oh, no.
He's
Oh,
talking
the other
about
one, yeah.
he's talking about the boring machine, not the
Oh,
press ones.
well, they were already when I left to come here, so maybe they got it lifted 6 inches yesterday. And that means that they're still, if they can get on the lake every day, then maybe this week.
All right.
Fingers crossed. Anything else?
Thank you.
Next is the food plant. Revenues are up $4.2 million. It's going to be an increase of 6%.
That's full.
Expenses are 4.1, this is an increase of 2%. They are actually running very well, and they're going to have almost $100,000 surplus, so sewer plant's doing very well. Their sewer operating cost for 2020 is going to be $1.6 million. This is just a slight increase from 2019. And then you'll notice their capital is up more. They're going to budget $440,000 in 2020. Better they do, the more money is available, so the more money is available for capital. And Kevin is here. And I'd like to point out, it didn't start doing good until Kevin took over. But that's all you say. Right, that's all I'll say.
That's all I'm saying.
Nice now.
That's a nice introduction. Yeah.
Must be his name.
So once they have the Red Creek interceptor put in, are you guys ready for that?
Sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we have plenty of capacity for it. Yep, that'd be no problem.
Questions? Has the county in contact with you guys as far as when they're gonna do it?
Not me personally.
Okay.
No, I haven't heard anything about it, to be honest. I haven't known anything about it.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
All right, next is the stormwater. The revenues are expected to be 1.1. This is a decrease of almost $540,000. And the expenses are 1.1 as well, and this is a decrease of $725,000. The reason for the decrease, we're doing less capital projects in the stormwater fund in 2020, so we're going to be receiving less level 2 monies. Less money coming in, less money going out as well. This fund will have a budget surplus of $45,000 in 2020.
And where does the $2.75?
That goes into this fund as well.
So out that $1,774,000, where is,
So
what's the breakdown?
that $2.25 brings in roughly, are you talking what you paid?
On the bill, utility.
Yeah, that brings in roughly $440,000 a year. So obviously, we need that and along with the level 2 monies as well. Leanne is here to go over any stormwater issues you guys might have, and Brian's here as well, or to go over their capital.
What is gingerbread design? I know what gingerbread looks like on a Victorian house, but I just don't quite have that idea here.
So it's the gingerbread apartments on Route 20.
Okay.
Is what they're referring to when they think about it.
Decorate.
Yeah, no.
I'm giving cookies everywhere.
So it's part of the overall master sewer design plan you guys did 10 years ago.
In 2008.
Okay, so yeah, about 10.
Yeah.
Not it. There were improvements that needed to happen around those gingerbread apartments tied to storm. When we took a closer look over the last 6 months, we realized that if we followed exactly how it was designed, we'd actually be creating another problem. And so we're looking to do a redesign on that to make sure we're not creating a new problem somewhere else.
I saw,
The Maplewood Basin project?
They should finish this year.
Okay.
All that's left is grading in the basin. So, everything else under the railroad is tough.
And how much maintenance is there over by Cedarbrook behind Atwell's in that detention or retention pond?
Do you know how?
Is that,
I don't know.
who does that?
We mow it.
Okay.
I mean, it's an undertaking when the grass is growing, string trimming, but I mean, it's doable. We do it one guy, he's on a continuous cycle of our right-of-way properties that we mow.
Okay.
But it's, we do it with one guy.
my question is, design and construct certain neighborhood drainage improvements as part of the 2020 goals and objectives. Is there something, is that vague because there's nothing in mind, or are there projects you
That's
guys?
vague because as people have issues, we look at what we can do to help or issues.
No. Next is the capital. $13.6 million for the 2020 capital budget. We've already met with council to go over most of this. $700,000 is going to go towards the police capital, with $515,000 of it coming from the levy. The $17 million water intake project is going to be completed, and it's going to cost us $3 million in 2020. $1.3 million will be spent on paving roads, and $4.5 million is going to be spent on electric capital. And then this is just a chart showing where all the capital expenses are going to. Water is the largest, electric is the next largest, and then roads is the third largest amount being spent on capital. And that's it.
I think you and other department heads going over these ideas and the work that they've
we'll be bringing this legislation to council tonight and planning to go through these.
I have a kind of just, random question. So, and this is probably more for you than anybody else. Did having the framework of the strategic plan and the goals and objectives, the headers, was that helpful for envisioning how each department was gonna approach everything?
It helped to show what council wanted, yes, it did.
Okay. Because this is the first year I think we've gone through that, utilizing them, or is it the second? Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions or concerns? At this point, I'd like to get a motion to adjourn from public session on the workshop for a budget draft. Second.